Hey guys, we are going to be in the next 10 seconds. You're going to get to see a new episode for a kitchen appliance. And I'm really excited about what Lorenzo is going to talk about. And he talks about his ideas after I talk about mine, which means, unfortunately, you're going to have to sit through my ideas first. But the idea that he talks about is such a game changer because he's talking about switching from an alternate solution to this new solution, and he's writing copy around that. It's just genius. And it's from my perspective, one of the ideas that I talk about is, we have all of these incredible assets that we've created, but actually very few people actually oftentimes even see them. So how do we take something that has been created but is not seen and actually bring it to the forefront? So I talk about that. Stick around, enjoy the show. Hey guys, we are excited and back with another episode. Lorenzo, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm feeling energetic, man. Like It's
Awesome.
gonna be fun.
We have not seen each other's ideas. And what I want to just mention up front is that, as you can see on the screen, we're going to be talking about a $1 billion brand today, more than $1 billion brand today. And this is a kitchen appliance, and anyone who's into baking, my wife is from the hospitality industry. And so for her, this is a very common utensil or a object that is in kitchens. And now, of course, a lot of people own this in their homes as well. So I want to mention one thing before I get to the layout of the page is, and this, I should mention this upfront, is that, don't look at this and say, oh, KitchenAid, these guys are showing KitchenAid. I have such a small website. Remember, we are only going to talk about insights and ideas that will apply to your business. So don't worry about the fact that we're talking about KitchenAid. And Lorenzo brought up a very valid point, which is that we are also trying to show that if $1 billion brands have opportunities to improve conversion rates, use that as motivation and inspiration instead of saying, this is not going to be relevant to me. We promise you everything we're going to talk about in this episode, hopefully, is going to be directly applicable to you. We are only using KitchenAid as an example because we hope that you are familiar with this product, and hopefully you look at this and say, oh my God, I actually did consider some of these things when I was buying. So that's the reason why we picked it. Should I start, my friend?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. So I'm looking at the desktop website just because it's nice and big on the screen. As you can see, they have lots of alternate views available. They actually have multiple pages of these views, and then you can make it full screen. They have these, for skimmers, they have the key features listed up front. And then they've got lots of colors. You can personalize it. And then, of course, the sticker shock of the $450 price point. They have a comparison feature. This, of course, is something that is unique to them, where they can actually, because their shipping system, they can actually tell you upfront based on my IP how long it's going to take to get here. And they also have some urgency messaging over here saying that 80 people recently bought this. You have all this, upsells and stuff like that. And then here they are mentioning their key features. And then here they have more of an overview, show the image, they show the description. I will say that overall that their page is very kind of limited. It's very kind of top level information. They have some features listed over here as well. And then over here, they have specs. Again, if you click here, they expand out. In simple terms, that is the layout of the page. And of course, what they have a lot of is 30,000 reviews, which I think is amazing.
Wow.
And I think one of the things that I think that's very clever about their setup is that they actually show questions on top first, because oftentimes brands will show questions as a tab and most people will miss that. I think that leading in with questions is a very good idea because people have questions. So you can immediately start saying, oh, I can post a question. So I thought that was good. So
especially with such a high price, right? The level of questions is probably even higher.
You're exactly right, my friend. So all of that said, I'm now going to jump into my ideas. Again, Lorenzo has not seen my ideas, so he's going to maybe stop me if something doesn't make sense. And hopefully all of this will make sense for everyone. So let me tell you my core insights. So the first problem I noticed was that what happens if a key asset or if key assets aren't seen? And I'll show you something very interesting. When I was studying the page, I noticed that the content was that I'm not going to get into finding flaws. The purpose of the show is not to find flaws. These guys are very, very successful. But what I felt was that the content itself was very kind of to the point, almost like the retailer is getting charged by the web hosting company by word. So they're kind of saying, okay, let's keep the word count to a minimum. But I felt it was like very kind of surface level information. Even over here, like I felt the copy, like they say something like you can make signature chocolate chip cookies, or you can make Taco Tuesday with friends and family. This is kind of marketing copy, but at this point, like it's okay as an ad. But at this point, the user is like 2 inches away from pulling out their credit card. I need more meat, as Lorenzo would say. I need more stuff to pull out the credit card. Then they have these details over here, but they don't explain what these are. So I was feeling a little depressed, and I was like, oh my God, there isn't enough content here. And then what happened was, in that process of discovery, I actually discovered that they have a manual. And when I opened up this manual, and I'm going to do this right now real quick, I actually found some really, really good content. So first of all, I think there's some beautiful product images over here. And they actually are showing individual components, which I think, like here, they're showing images of those products. And I was thinking to myself, like, how much more richer it would be if they showed those instead of listing those things, they showed those images. But I'll tell you what's even more important is that what I found was that was completely missing on the product page was the fact that on the product page, and this was shocking to me, they actually, so the three main, for those of you who don't know, I think there are 3 accessories. I don't know about this one, but I know this one, and this one are the 3 components that are included with the purchase. This is for making bread, for kneading bread or dough. This one is a whisk for fluffing up eggs. And then this one is for, if you're making cookies for the batter, it's like a silicone coated little thing. It's like a spoon that kind of does the job. That is the purpose of this product. And the thing is that they didn't really explain on the product page, at least I couldn't find it at all. No mention of what all you can use these specific things for. They talked in general terms about, one line, like you can bake bread. But in the PDF, that is, and by the way, you only get the PDF. I mean, you get this manual once you make a purchase, which is too late in the process as far as I'm concerned. Here they explain what that flat beater is for. They talk about the products you can make with it, the job you can do with it. I'm not buying this device because of the bowl and the shape of it. I'm buying it because I want to make my kids happy with cookies. I want to impress my boss with my meatloaf, things like that. So here they're actually specifically mentioning what you can do with it. I thought this was very important content. And this is what I mean by, I think, and Lorenzo is a big fan of analytics. I think that if they tracked for clicks to the PDF, they will find less than 1% of people clicked on it, which means that 99% of people don't even see this content. So what would happen if we took this content? Here also, it's very interesting because this machine has 10 different speeds. Now, you're advertising the fact that it has 10 different speeds on the product page. The consumer doesn't care about 10 speeds or 8 speeds. The consumer wants to understand what is the benefit of each speed. How do I use the speed? And so here they actually explain.
What's in it for me, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so here they actually explain, it's a simple table. And this, I find this a lot with big brands. They actually have manuals that are incredibly detailed, but their product pages, it's almost like it's like 2 different teams are working on 2 different things. And so my thought was like, okay, how do we use this? And then what I also liked was, I really liked this part, this safety mechanism, they actually explain the mechanism of how to lock it and unlock it. And the reason why I thought this was important is because, again, this is me speculating. This is a heavy industrial product. It's a very powerful motor. And I think a lot of people who are buying it for the first time would be concerned about the weight of it, but also safety. And so to know that there's a safety feature that prevents it from opening, closing until, stuff like that. So what I did was, very simply, I took screenshots of this content. And my basic point is that instead of relying on the fact that 1% of people will discover the PDF, you can first of all set up tracking to see if that's the case. If 19% of people are seeing the PDF, then maybe this problem is not worth solving. If 1% of people are seeing the PDF, then maybe you should solve it. And my thought was to actually put this on the product page at some prominent location. Maybe you can put it where you have so like over here, you could just add a few more, maybe you could increase the height and just add this content, was my thought. So that was one of my insights. Let me move on to my next idea. Again, it's the same principle, which is, what do we do if a key asset is not seen? And what I found was that on the product page, if you go to the way it loads is like this. This is the page. And you actually have to click the down arrow once and then down arrow twice, at that point, you can kind of make out a little bit. You can make out there's a little video.
The video.
But I don't think it's, again, I would speculate less than 5% of people would discover it. We have to then ask ourselves, okay, if someone doesn't discover it, what do we do? And so I have a very simple rule that I've built that says, if someone does not click this video, then you, at this location, the bullet point, just simply say, seen our overview video, and you help them discover the video. If they've clicked, if they watch the video, then you can use this for something else. So my thought was this, actually, this is an important point, is that another important section of the page, to me, the most important section of the page is actually not at the top above the fold. It's actually lower on the page. It's where they talk about this stuff and the features. To me, this is like the reason why people buy. This is, nobody is buying this product. You know, it's very interesting. They really emphasize their color options. But I think for the actual consumer who is buying this product for the first time, I think what the product does is much more important. And that is kind of buried on page 3. So my idea is this. I want to put conditional logic where if someone has not watched the video, then we show the video call to action. If they've watched the video, we use that exact same location to say product photos and photos of features. I was unable to show it as a hyperlink. Unfortunately, I'm not a good graphic designer, but the idea is that when you click on it, it anchor links you to lower on the page. So it's short. So basically the benefit of this idea is that we're using the same piece of real estate multiple times. So you're actually getting a lot of like conversion value from it. And you're doing it conditionally.
I love this one because videos are so powerful, especially if done by copywriters, people that know how to persuade.
Yeah.
If the script has been written by copywriters and people that know how to persuade, it's very powerful. So making that more prominent on the page rather than like hide it because that video play is not visible enough. It's genius. It's very clever.
What I want to also actually talk about, I'm not going to play the video for now, but actually even the video. So I had problems with the video itself. I think the video is a great TV commercial because it's only 53 seconds long. And I think this is a big mistake that brands make. They create an asset and they say, okay, how can we just spread this asset across our entire product line? The reality is that the buying psychology of someone who's watching a TV commercial is different. Nobody watching a TV commercial wants to watch a 10-minute video about a product because I'm not even certain I'm interested. But by the time someone comes to a product page, their interest level is 50x higher than someone who hasn't come to the product page. So the fact that this was a 53-second video to me is a lost opportunity. Now, the thing is, how do I make a case to the CEO? If you're a CRO, how do you go to the CEO or the company and say, I want to have a 10-minute overview video? Because they'll be like, no. So what I want to do is I want to get the support, the signatures of people that are actually on the product page. So what I did was I simply added a simple mechanism when at the last 10 seconds or 4 seconds of the video, it simply says, would you have liked a more detailed video? Now I'm collecting signatures of actual shoppers and I can go to the business and I can say 85% of people said they wanted a longer damn video. And
you're building a case here. You're building a case for video budget.
Sorry?
You're building a case for video budget.
Absolutely right. And there's a reason for this. The reason for this is the fact that when I went to YouTube, I actually found lots and lots of videos about overviews of this KitchenAid, and they were all fairly long. They were 10-minute long videos. And they talked about all the features and attributes. I mean, when I'm on the product page, I don't need a video that is talking in very casual terms about, oh, it looks cool, it looks fancy. I want to know the details. Not everyone cares about all of those details, but I would say for a product like this, video is very important. And if we can build a case for it, then we can create that video. And like Lorenzo said, that final video should be created by a copywriter, because the idea is not to showcase what the brand is all about and the history of KitchenAid. It's about like helping the user visualize people are trying to make progress in their life. They want to show off to their kids and their husbands and their friends with their baking abilities. And I think that's what the video would do.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to add. I don't know anything about the history of KitchenAid. I know it's a very, very, very old company, But what I want to say is that I would not be surprised if the way this product used to be sold pre-internet was door to door.
Yep.
And what door to door allows you to do is to demonstrate
That's
the
right.
product. And that's what a video does in this case. It replaces the door to door selling, because it's hopefully like a person that is doing the selling with the video. So if a product that used to be sold on a door to door makes sense that video is powerful.
And not only that, Lorenzo, you're absolutely correct, because I remember that this product used to be prominently, KitchenAid is prominently featured in Macy's retail store. Every time we go to Macy's, we always see it in the kitchen section, because the product requires you to be able to, it's a very heavy product, and you want to be able to touch it and feel it and see how it looks and stuff like that. And and that completely gets lost in e-commerce. So you have to figure out some mechanism to make the user feel like they're in a retail store, and video does that. And the thing is that the video that they had was very short. You don't have to spend $20,000 producing a video. All you're doing is, in your office, you're setting a table and you're having a product specialist actually show what the product does, and you can just edit it down, and you can actually do it in like $1,000, man. And so I just think it's a no-brainer to at least have it as an option. I'm not saying 100% of people, I'm not saying force everyone to watch it. If you give it as an option, maybe at the end of, maybe once you have the video, you could change this option to say, would you like to see a more detailed video? And if someone says yes, then you show it to them. If they say no, then don't.
Yeah, and nowadays with like the latest iPhone models that just come out every year, the quality of the videos is amazing. You can even buy accessories that improve the quality of an iPhone video. So you don't even need like a super fancy video camera. You can use your own cell phone.
Absolutely. And let's jump to my next idea. This is something we've discussed before, but I think it's actually the most important segment for any brand. There are two principal types of people that are buying this KitchenAid. There are people that their mothers used to have KitchenAid, so they are buying KitchenAid. They've been buying KitchenAid for years, and those are the people that are driving the bulk of the sales. But there is this one other group, which I think is the most important group in the whole universe, which is people who are buying KitchenAid, the brand, for the very first time. They've seen the commercials, they've seen it, but they've never bought it before. This is a completely different psychology. And I don't think there is any place for them right now. And I think what they should do, and we know that the anxiety level, if there was a sensor, the anxiety level would spike up when they see the price point of $450. And actually, when I saw the video test reviews I was watching, there was a lot of discussion about it's a very expensive product. It's expensive. So the price is an important detail. It's a kitchen appliance, and it's of course it's very high quality, but price is an important detail. So my idea is to simply add a call to action near the price point that says new to KitchenAid mixers. And we're not saying new to KitchenAid the brand, but we're saying new to KitchenAid mixers. And if someone clicks on it, then you show a light box and you show them a beautiful story. And if they're not new to it, they'll ignore it. And so that was my final idea.
All right, so let's talk about my reviews mining document first. So as always, I analyze not every single, but I analyze all the reviews, a bunch of reviews that KitchenAid had, and I come up with a bunch of themes around the insights that I discovered through the reviews. And there's this theme that I named Switch From, which basically collects all the different products that people that left the reviews are switching from. And as you can see, 35% of people said, well, I have bought a KitchenAid product before, so I'm more like upgrading to a new one because maybe these products last for like 20, 30, 40 years, which, is what you kind of like mentioned about. But then there's this second cohort of people, which I thought it was very interesting, which is somebody that owns a hand mixer, which is very different than a stand mixer, which is the one that we're talking about today. And so they're like, okay, we used to own a hand mixer, and now we bought a stand mixer. So I want to talk about an idea that basically talks about those people that are switching from a hand mixer to a stand mixer. And my solution to those people, right, we need to sell them on why the stand mixer is better than the hand mixer. So the solution I have here is I want to introduce a why buying a stand mixer. Here's how I would do it. Basically, I would add a call to action just below the product images, because again, it's part of the section of the mobile product, of the mobile view above the fold. And when people are clicking on this call to action, which as you can see is very prominent, it's in red, there's a pop-up that appears that says, here are 3 reasons why our customers decided to throw away their hand mixer and upgrade it to a stand mixer instead. And then reason number 1, reason number 2, and reason number 3. And the way I would come up with those reasons is through customer research. I would actually send out a survey to my customers, to the customers that have bought, asking, hey, have you bought, did you ever own a hand mixer? Yes and no. And then the second question for those that said yes would be like, can you explain the main advantages that you're getting from a stand mixer versus a hand mixer? So that's idea number 1. I would actually go one step further and create an iteration of this idea. And here's how I would do it. Instead of just displaying a call to action that says, I have a hand mixer, why buying a stand mixer? Question mark, I would have a sort of like a box, kind of like a
drop-down?
like a box. Yeah, no, more like a box that says, I currently have, or I currently own an old KitchenAid stand mixer model, a KitchenAid hand mixer, another brand stand mixer model, or I don't have any mixer.
Genius.
And then the user has to select which of these options that they bucket themselves into. And then I will show a different pop-up and also different reasons for each of these options based on the answer that they give me.
I mean, this is such a genius, and it's amazing. I've never seen this done on any website.
Because this is active participation, which is a model, a kind of like a CRO model that you invented, applied to this company.
No, it's really, really genius. And I think we forget that the biggest competitor for a brand is actually non-action, the consumer deciding not to take any action at all. And so when you talk about your features, it's irrelevant if you haven't built so I think this is genius, because what you're doing is you're identifying specifically their situation and then building a sales pitch to counteract that situation. It's just gold. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. And this is all data, all stuff, all data, all insights that people have mentioned in the reviews. Again, I'm not even asking anything to the user. Yeah. They organically mentioned that they pass from a hand mixer to a stand.
Yeah, if Lorenzo, just go back here. I want to make a point here. First of all, Lorenzo is basing this on actual data because KitchenAid has a lot of reviews. But I want to just let the listeners know that if you have 4 reviews on your website, you can still speculate and you can still guess. And then you can, on the back end, you can track to see what options people are selecting to know what is popular. So don't depend on data, use data, but don't be paralyzed if you don't have data. You can make guesses as well.
100%, which means that this not only work, these 4 options not only work to personalize the reasons why they should buy this product, but they also work as a customer research methodology, because now you'll discover that let's say 20% of the people that are on this page and they're engaging with this widget, they already own a KitchenAid mixer. So now you use that as a product insight tool.
I just think, this is such a beautiful idea, Lorenzo. I think we should make a note to actually have a completely different standalone episode on this and spend 40 minutes talking about it, because I think that we are basically giving people their bonus checks for the next couple of years by this one idea. Because if you, I just to give a teaser about what we might cover in that future episode is that what Lorenzo is doing is very interesting. First of all, notice the placement of where he's kind of showing this. He's showing this right at the top of the funnel. That means the user has not even consumed the content when we're asking these questions. Now, I'll tell you about the highest, the black belt level version of this idea is that you interact with this. We show a little pop-up, we give a reason why and all of that good stuff. But what's happening in the back end is we're repurposing the entire sales pitch around that selection. And that takes it to a whole different level. So I think this is such a powerful idea that we can basically write a book about this topic itself. And thank you for bringing this up. Wonderful.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're replicating the offline experience, right? Because if I went to the KitchenAid store and I told them I have an end mixer from KitchenAid, they would tell me something to persuade me to buy. While if I said, oh, I bought, I used to own this other brand, they would tell me, here's why KitchenAid is right for you versus the other brand.
And not only that, Lorenzo, not only are you replicating the offline world, you're actually doing something more. You're basically cloning your best salesperson. And you're doing it at scale. So not only are you replicating, you're actually making it 1,000 times more effective.
100%. Let's talk about my second idea, which I called it better upsell the attachments. So let's talk about the accessories and the attachments that they have here before I actually show the idea that I wireframed. So as you can see here, we have the accessories and attachments section with two products that the user can click and kind of like select and buy together with the main mixer. Now, the problem is that KitchenAid has a lot of accessories and has a lot of attachments. So my question here when I was looking at this product page was, well, what are the odds that I truly need this attachment versus other attachments, right? So my solution for this is let's create the ability to choose the attachments based on the context and the type of food that the user wants to cook. Kind of like what you were saying earlier, the jobs to be done is I need to cook something, right? My attachment, the accessory that I'll buy is a tool that will help me get a certain job done, right? So what if I add a section above the two containers where the user can pick, I just simply put, tabs where the user can pick and choose what goal they're trying to get done, what they want to cook with the product, and then the different accessories that I'm suggesting change based on if they want to cook pasta or they want to cook desserts or ice cream. So now the user pick and choose whatever they want to cook, and then they select the right accessory based on that. There's the last opportunity, the last idea I had, which is this is actually very important. I kind of like left it as a third one, but it's very, very important. It's two huge issues, two technical issues that I found. One is a bug. So when you're clicking on this dropdown, see, this is not even working at the moment. So nothing happens. And actually in this screenshot, you can see that nothing appears. So it's kind of like wasted real estate. And then in general, the second issue is actually a usability issue. So if you zoom in into an image, I'm not going to replicate that, but if you zoom in into the image, there's no way to get out of the image. And I had to refresh the page in order to actually go back to the product page. Now, Rishi and I always talk about, interesting ideas that we discover based on research and based on Rishi's, experience as a copywriter. But one of the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to CRO is actually fixing technical and usability issues. So that should be like almost like step one in the hierarchy of the things that you should do in order to improve your product page and your conversion rate overall. So figure out from a usability perspective standpoint what problems your users are having at the moment. To always check the browsers and the different iOS that your users are using in order to and compare the different conversion rates, because you always discover, not always, but oftentimes you discover that there's technical issues there.
That's a really good point, and especially if you have a big product line, then it's inevitable that something that was put in the product page template level is just either like there's an extra tab for accessories for a product where they don't have accessories, for example, or something that they should have that was not included because it doesn't apply to 90% of products and it was unanticipated. So there's lots of usability opportunities. I think you're absolutely right. Wonderful. I really like your ideas.
They're obviously less exciting, but it's still something that is super valuable to fix in order to improve conversion rate.
Yeah, you can't increase the motivation level of the buyer if something is broken.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Great. I just loved it. Wonderful. I'm actually quite excited. This is really, really good. Awesome, buddy. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's pretty much it. If you like the episode, please subscribe. We try to publish at least 1 or 2 episodes a week. So if you don't want to miss out on them, just hit the subscribe button below.
And the most valuable thing you can do for us is that if you can share this video, email this to one person in your network, or go through our archive of videos and see something that might be relevant to people. I think a lot of times people aren't even, reality is that very few people are aware of our content. And so we're happy to talk to 10 people, we're happy to, but I think we can create more value and impact if we can share ideas with 5,000 people. So help us in that mission, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you for watching. Ciao.
Bye-bye.